we know that these hydrogels are viscoelastic materials. So that means like it's neither a solid nor fully a liquid, it's something in between, right? So what we wanted to do is like we wanted to hear what those drops sound like, right? And then when we looked at the video, we found that, well, that's a wholly different thing. It's actually more interesting than the sound itself.
You have like an aperture from like a camera, and then you stick the hydrogel bead on there, and then when you open the aperture, it falls through. You're only a few millimeters above the surface. And then the surface we use a syringe to fill it within a certain amount of fluid, which we vary, and then we vary the height with the aperture. So then we release it, and it falls down, and then
it impacts the droplet, and if it's at a certain height, the droplet is going to bounce up with the original water bead also. Like you can see the water bead coming down, dropping on the droplet, and the droplet would spread out like a really thin film, and there would be a canopy, and then there would be the most interesting formation. We call it a reverse crown. It sort of looks like a crown the king would wear, just upside down.
But he wanted to call it an octopus.
Yeah, so all sorts of
it's really funny.
All sorts of interesting like shapes come up.
And then as you increase the height, the skirt goes further and further out, and it can't retract. And so then it starts to either break up or things like this. But it's really, really beautiful.
Like if you try a solid sphere, which you tried, you don't really get to see all those like different pattern formations in the air. The droplet never bounces up. When the solid sphere rebounds, they form a connecting bridge, but like a ligament sort of thing. But it's not like the droplet never leaves the surface. Yeah. But if you use the viscoelastic sphere, then the sphere on impact with the surface, it deforms. Like it becomes like a oddly shaped like blob sort of thing.
So if that base, it's round, and then it comes down and flattens on the bottom, and if the flat part is basically bigger than the droplet size, then it will almost always rise up from the surface. So there's kind of this, kind of obvious thing when you watch it many, many times. But if people are watching the video, that's what they should look for. From an application standpoint, it does look like a stretch, to the public. They're like, what are you doing and why, On the other hand, though, if your kids are like, bored or something and you've got a bunch of these, you can certainly have a lot of fun with them and see all kinds of really exciting things. Even without the camera, you would see a pattern of splash that looks different from different heights. So that's really quite cool, things like that.